What's up, guys? It's TechnoViking23 coming to you today with some Raid Shadow Legends, and we're actually going to be jumping into the Dragon's Dungeon, specifically Dragon 20, and running an all-rare team. This is mainly to show you guys an idea for when the tournament comes around here in a little bit, when they are doing the Kale skin. I believe it's all rares in the Dragon's Dungeon. It's going to be the specific tournament, so I wanted to go ahead and put something together that I'll probably use when that tournament rolls around. Now, I may modify this team a little bit, trade out some champions, but I wanted to do something fairly basic to kind of show this off a little bit. So we have Elhain, who's our starter champion on this account from way back when. We've got a Cold Heart, got an Apothecary, Frozen Banshee, and a Maiden. I felt like these were all champions that are fairly accessible at this point in the game for most people that will be going after this tournament. Kale would probably be a little bit better to run as a starter here, obviously, because he does have a little bit of poison damage, but we actually are running Elhain here so she can die before she gets to the dragon. That way she doesn't have to get eaten by the dragon again, so we're kind of doing her a favor. But no, of course, every test run that you do beforehand seems to work seamlessly. I wanted to actually use this footage because it's going to show this team works even when we lose one or two champions. Now, it's great that Cold Heart does survive, because she's able to hit that Heartseeker on the dragon to give us some pretty good damage to still make this a fairly respectable time for using all rares. But Elhain has some issues getting past wave 1 and wave 2 sometimes. She's basically just in here to do a little bit of extra damage for us. The Hordens do hit very hard in this dungeon, so if you're not doing anything to mitigate that, it can be kind of tough. We're not using a Reviver here. I thought about using Reliquary Tender, but it didn't really seem to matter too much time-wise, whether or not we lost a champion or two. Coming down through here, because really the MVP of this team is Frozen Banshee with all the poison damage she's able to put out on the dragon. So as long as she makes it to the dragon, we're going to be just fine. So I just thought, again, this is kind of a general idea, give you guys maybe some basic ideas on what you can do for when this tournament rolls around. Just wanted to show that you can complete it with all rare champions. I am going to show the gear here toward the end of the video. Also, I'll go ahead and throw a screenshot up of my Great Haul so you can kind of see where we are getting a pretty good amount of bonus stats from that. My Great Haul is not quite done yet, but it is getting there. We've been farming Gold 5 pretty hard here to try to finish it out, but we still have a ways to go. Unfortunately, we do have everything gold, which is nice, but we still have quite a few to finish building out to 10. But you can see here these Hordens do hit very, very hard, so it's tough to get all of your champions through here sometimes. Now, what I would probably do if I do this for an auto run that I want to be 100% every time, which this team pretty much is. I watched it do about 50 earlier and they didn't fail any. Is bring in maybe a control champion like a Bellower and a stun set to basically do AoE stun, keep these waves from taking turns, especially those Hordens, or even someone like a Banshee. You could use Banshee here in some type of control set to keep those waves from getting any turns. But you can see here, even though we lost Elhain and Cold Heart, this team is going to be fine, because look at all the insane poisons that Frozen Banshee throws out. And you'll see with her gear, she's basically in just kind of typical clan boss gear from when I used to use her in Nightmare Clan Boss. It's been quite a while since I used her in any type of content, so it's another reason this was kind of nice. I get to bring out some of these rare champions that I haven't used in a long time. Maiden is still in quite a few of my in-game dungeon teams, so really nothing different with her there. She's still in her stun set from before, as you will see when we take a look at the gear for some of these champions. But even with losing 2 champions, we still got to run in under 2 minutes, so not too bad. And like I said, we could put crazy gear on these champions. We could bring in some different champions to make this go a little bit faster. But for the purpose of the video, again, I know a lot of people might be free to play or low spend. They may not have all the crazy void rares in the game, so we kind of just wanted to do something that was a little bit more basic, but that would still work fairly well for this tournament. I don't think we'll have any problem farming it, especially when we're going to do most of it AFK, so we're not really too concerned with the time to begin with. Now, Elhain did actually survive the first wave there, which is pretty surprising for once. We'll see if she can get through wave 2 here. I don't think she will. She's probably going to get one shot by one of these Hordens. But yeah, you see, look how much damage the Hordens are able to do there. They're just, you know, if they get to take a turn here, it's really tough. And I'm so used to nuking these waves with Seer anyways. It's kind of funny to see the other enemies here actually take turns. So Cold Heart may actually die here again. It's looking like she's pretty low, but no. Apothecary is able to heal her up there. That's why he's in here. Speed boost and mitigate a little bit of that damage with his healing. We did luckily hit a stun on that other Horden to keep him out. And we're going to get to the dragon here pretty much with 4 out of our 5. Again and again, these 4 can very easily take the dragon down between the Heartseeker and all of the poisons we're going to be getting in from Frozen Banshee. So really nothing too difficult here. Like I said, guys, just wanted to give you a baseline idea for a type of team you could build to do this challenge. I was thinking about trying to do 24, but the damage coming in from the enemy waves was a little bit too much to mitigate, so I just decided to do 20. It's a little bit easier, a little bit more efficient for my energy. So we'll still be able to do quite well and at least push the tournament to get all the rewards that it will have up for grabs. But let's go ahead and jump into our champion roster. We'll take a look at some of the gear on these champions so you guys can see how I have all of them built. Alright guys, I thought we would just go over the gear on these champions that we're using here for the all rares. The gear is halfway decent. Again, I am pretty late in the game, so I have some pretty solid gear. Cold Heart I use all the time, so she's constantly getting her gear updated to keep her crit damage as high as possible. And oddly enough, you can see here we have this Cold Heart in a Swift Parry set because I was able to get quite a bit of crit damage out of that there. I wanted to try to get her over 300 crit damage. We were able to do so. With that set, quick glance at her mastery is pretty standard stuff for her. She is fully booked out on all of her skills. And you can see her total stats here, 172 speed, 313% crit damage. You've only got to hit over that 70% mark on the crit rate. And again, attack with her is really not that important. And she's got enough accuracy here to do turn meter. But of course, in the dragon, you don't really need to worry about that. Now my War Maiden, I have not re-geared her in a while, but she's been in a stun set for quite some time after I kind of shifted her out of my arena team a long time ago and started using her on level 20 dungeons. I moved her into a stun set so she actually could get a little bit of wave control with her decreased defense ability, and actually turned out to be a pretty cool little trick to help me advance some dungeons back when I was still working on my account. So that's kind of where she is. She's also got pretty decent speed at 209, 228 accuracy, again enough to usually hit her decreased defense. I'm not really worried about too much else with her. Any damage she can do is kind of good. She's just really in there for that decreased defense. Her masteries are all finished. She's in Helm Smasher really because that was for arena back in the day. I used to use her for a little bit of extra damage before the nuke, so we would make sure we would wipe the enemy team, and she's fully booked as well. So let's kind of a look at her. Now, actually, the hard carry of this team is Frozen Banshee, and my Frozen Banshee is basically still as she was when I used to use her in Clan Boss. So I haven't really changed much with her build since then. This pretty standard lifesteal, and we've got an HP set on her to give her a bit more survivability. And we'll take you in here. So you can see there she's almost 50k HP, over 3000 defense, 193 speed, crit rate, crit damage I don't really care about on her, and 264 accuracy to make sure she is landing all those poisons on the dragon so that he is going to die quite a bit quicker. And we did take her all the way down to War Master. Again, pretty standard masteries for her there. All of her skills are fully booked out because I used to use her in Clan Boss quite a bit. Now we have Elhain, and Elhain is kind of in the same boat. She's still in the lifesteal gear that we used to use to farm campaign. I didn't really touch any of the gear for any of these champions for this, with the exception of Apothecary. He's actually the only one I really built because he's been sitting in my vault for a while. But you can just kind of see here, Elhain's got 4600 attack, 117. She's a little bit high on the crit rate, but that was what we were able to do to get her capped. 193% crit damage. She doesn't need accuracy, which is kind of the nice thing about her as a starter champion. Now, unfortunately, she does have a little bit of an issue surviving the waves here because the Hordens do like to bully her a little bit. But if she could get in there and just do a little bit of extra damage for us, that's mainly why she is there. Honestly, if I wanted to do a bit more advanced team for this, I'd be using somebody like Bellower in some kind of control build to basically just make sure those mobs never get a turn. But I wanted to keep this kind of simple, like starter champions. I wanted to make sure I used at least one of my starter champions here. I actually don't have Kale built on this account quite yet, which is pretty funny. So that's why I didn't use him there, but he would be ideal with his poison damage. But that's kind of how Elhain is. And she's, of course, fully booked. She was my starter on this account. Elhain's been ride or die since day one. So just had to bring her in and let her have a little fun. Most of the time she will survive, but you know, of course, when you make the videos, nothing ever works out the way it's supposed to. But as you can see with this team, even when we lost 2 champions, we're still able to complete it due to Frozen Banshee just being absolutely amazing with her poisons. Now, here we have our Apothecary. Now, I actually did gear him in a toxic set for this. That's kind of why it's kind of handy to keep some of this gear lying around if you get some decent rolls on it. So you can see we actually have some pretty nice toxic pieces here that did get some speed to roll on them. Triple speed roll on this HP chest. We've got the speed boost with triple resistance. You know, we got a good double resistance roll on this shield. It's one of the reasons I like keeping some of these more off-the-wall gear sets, because you can do fun stuff like this. Put Apothecary in toxic, and then he's doing some extra poison damage to help out. On the dragon, he's of course mainly here to boost our team's speed and to also heal up some of our squishier champions during those waves. Unfortunately, it's sometimes not enough to get Elhain through it, but he's pretty strong anyways. Now, I don't use him much. That's why I said I pulled him out of the vault for this and actually threw this gear on him. I do have him crit cap to helps his healing out quite a bit. You can see there's actually pretty high resistance from this speed set from this toxic set. We had a lot of resistance on it, and we had a lot of speed on it, so we got him pretty fast and pretty high resistance. Don't need accuracy on him. Really just want him survivable, and that's enough with 50k and almost 3,000 defense there. So pretty good. His masteries are finished for the most part. I'm pretty sure he is booked out. He's a rare champion. It's pretty easy to book, but like I said, he's been in my vault for a while, so kind of let him get out, get a little bit of fresh air. I personally feel like he's one of the most overrated rare champions in this game, so I don't use him too much. Even when I did have him, he was at level 50 for a long time, but I didn't really use him a whole lot. So there's Apothecary in his toxic gear, one of the main reasons we were able to do a little bit extra damage on the dragon there. But of course, we got to, you know, everything goes really to Frozen Banshee here, who, if you have her, she is an amazing poisoner who could do quite well on the dragon there. So that's a Dragon 20 all rare team. You'll be able to use something similar to this when that tournament comes around, so you can farm, get those tournament rewards, and also maybe take a shot at getting that skin for Kale. So as always, guys, if you have any questions about anything you saw in the video, feel free to let me know down below. I'll do my best to get you an answer as soon as I can. As always, hope you guys are having a great day. Thanks as always for watching. I will see you again next time.